Kelowna has always had a bit of a reputation when it comes to real estate prices. And honestly, I get it. A lot of people hear the numbers, assume it's out of reach for them, and they just kind of move on and wait. And I understand that instinct. But here's the thing. 899,000 in Kelowna today is genuinely a different conversation than it was even just 2 years ago. And I want to show you exactly what that looks like. What that budget actually gets you right now, where it falls short, and whether the picture you have in your head of this market is current, or if it's a couple years behind where things actually are today. But before we look at any properties, I just want to give you a bit of context on where the market actually sits right now, because it matters for how you interpret what you're going to see and the listings we're going to look at. We are in a buyer's market in Kelowna. Inventory has been elevated for a couple of years. We have anywhere from 8 to 10 months of inventory, depending on the type of home you're looking at, which means that only 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 8 homes listed are selling in any given 30-day period. And homes are sitting on the market for around 75 days on average right now before they sell. To put that into perspective, sellers are waiting over 2 months in most cases. And that kind of waiting and competition on the seller side creates real negotiating room for buyers who show up prepared. And what that means practically is that 899,000 isn't just a number on a listing. It's a starting point. And for the right buyer in the right situation, there's room to move. And I'll come back to that in a few minutes because I think it's one of the most important things to understand about this market right now. For now though, I want to show you what's actually available at this price point. I've pulled 3 current listings that each represent a different type of property you can access with this kind of budget. A single-family detached home, a townhome, and a single-family home that has a revenue component. Same budget, different trade-offs. And it's worth seeing all 3 so that you can understand what you're actually choosing between in this market. The first property that we're going to look at is actually a townhome. This is part of a fourplex. It is listed for $899,900 on Lawson Avenue. It's 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and just over 1,500 square feet. Relatively new, it was built in 2023. We'll look down at the map. So this is on Lawson Avenue, which is a block from Bernard. That's Main Street. It's to the east of Richter, so a little bit quieter, but you're well within walking distance of downtown and everything that that has to offer. Taking a look at the photos. So this one has a courtyard. It is a townhouse. It's a part of a fourplex. These ones have the garage, which is detached and it is in the alley. But this is out of your living room, I believe. And this is a nice sitting area courtyard. It offers some privacy. There you can see an overhead look. So this is an infill in an older part of town. There is a picture of the garage. So each unit has its own single car garage, which is off the back alley. Lots of storage space. Being built in 2023, this is a more modern unit. It has a nice quartz countertops by the looks of it, walk around island, modern colors. Got a living room with a gas fireplace. Nice open floor plan on that main level. Another picture of the patio. This would be your main living area. It does have room for a dining room table, which is nice, and you also have that eat-up bar. There would be the powder room, I believe, which is on the main level. And then we head upstairs to where your 3 bedrooms are. So you've got a bit of a landing area at the top of the stairs, which is a good spot for a desk, or you could put a reading nook there. There's one of your bedrooms. I would suspect that this is the primary. Has a nice dual vanity ensuite with a walk-in shower. I believe your laundry will be on this level in those hallways. This is your second bedroom. Looks like they've converted it into a gym. And you've got a 3rd bedroom on that level as well. So a nice option for someone that maybe you don't want a single family home and you're looking in this price point. You've got modern, new build, lots of room. Looks like no landscaping, so you don't have to worry about mowing lawns on the weekend. And there's the floor plan real quick. The second unit is a single family home. This one is in the Black Mountain area. It was built in 1978, but it does look like it has had some updates on it. It's also listed at $899,000. It's a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, just over 2,100 square feet, and it is in the Black Mountain area. Taking a look at the gallery, they've chosen to paint this one a nice black modern color on the outside. On the inside, it has had some renovations, so this is a newer kitchen, lots of cabinet space, gas range, nice dining area, and a living area, which looks like it has a wood-burning fireplace. May or may not work anymore. You'll have to get that inspected if you were looking at buying this home. Floors have been redone into a nice hardwood. This one has a hot tub off the back patio, and that's got a covered patio. Lots of parking in this situation too. You've got parking out front as well as the driveway and the single car garage. This is the foyer entryway. So this would be kind of your typical home built in this area. They used to call them kind of a BC box. They're a split entry. So you come into a foyer, you have the choice of going upstairs or downstairs. This one has a wall removed to open up the area. When these were built, there was a wall there between the kitchen and the hallway living room. So nice renovation's been done on this home. So even though it's an older home at this price point, it's a good size and it's had some good work done on it. This is your covered patio area, room for a fridge. These are really nice in the summer because you can be outside and not have to be in the direct sunlight. This would be one of your bedrooms. A second bedroom. This is the main bathroom on the main level, so it's got dual vanities, a walk-in shower. This is into your basement, so another wood-burning fireplace, lots of room. You know, if you want to have that second living room or something like that, there's another one of your bedrooms and another bedroom, and this would be your downstairs bathroom. So still it looks like it has a shower or a tub and a lot of room. Laundry on the lower level. And what I like about some of these homes that were built kind of, pre-1980 is they have a door from outside, either in the back or the side, into your basement. So if you do a lot of stuff with recreation gear or your job involves, getting a little bit dirty, you're not coming in your main entrance all the time, tracking all that dirt into the house. There's the hot tub, even has a pool in this case, and a nice yard. So if you're a young family or you want that extra space, this is a great option for you. You've got pool, hot tub, fenced backyard, lots of room for entertaining or just hanging out as a family. The third home that we're going to look at, this one actually has a rental suite, a legal 1-bedroom suite in the basement. It is listed for $899,000. It's 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, just under 2,000 square feet, and it was built in 1967. This one is listed in just off of Glenmore. So this is kind of in that North Glenmore area. This is a highly desirable family area. And actually it's a couple blocks from the golf course. So it's central Glenmore, highly desirable area for families. A lot of people like this established neighborhood. We'll take a look at the photos. So we've got parking space here, a carport. You're not gonna get a garage in this case, but this home has also been updated. So you're under $900,000, but you're getting an updated home that someone has put some work into. Your main entrance comes into your kind of living area here. You've got a closet just off of there. Nice open living dining area. Room for 1 car in the carport. There's probably some room to park in the street. Flooring has been updated. We'll get on to the kitchen. So the kitchen's a bit small, but it's been updated. You've got a bit of room if you like to cook, a little extra counter space on that side, and the fridge is tucked away from the living room. Nice windows to the outside. This would be one of your bedrooms upstairs, so they've used this as an office. This will be the bathroom on your main level, so you've got a tub shower combination, lots of counter space and a sink. That's your second bedroom upstairs. Downstairs, we have this second door, which probably comes in from the carport, which will lead you downstairs into your self-contained suite. So this suite has a nice open area, some windows to let some light in, a kitchen tucked there in the back. So this is a great mortgage helper. You could probably rent this for, I don't know, between $1,200 and $1,800 for a 1-bedroom basement suite. That could be a really great option to have as a mortgage helper. And a few more photos of the outside. yard space, things like that. All right, so now you've got a sense of what's actually available at this price point right now. But I think the question that's probably in the back of your head, and it's the right question, is what does $899,000 actually look like as a monthly payment? Because the purchase price is one thing, but most people are buying with the mortgage. And that monthly number is what determines whether this actually fits your life or not. So I want to walk you through this using a 25-year amortization and a 5-year fixed rate of around 4.19%, which is a pretty realistic rate if you're walking into one of the major banks right now. If you're working with a mortgage broker, you could potentially get that closer to around 4%, and I'll show you in a second why even that difference is worth paying attention to. Let's take a look at what a mortgage would cost in this situation. Now, this is just the mortgage payment. You also have to factor in things like property taxes. And if you're living in anywhere where there's a strata, you're going to have monthly strata fees, which would be on top of this. But for today, we're just going to look at solely the mortgage payment. So if we look at a mortgage amount of $834,000, this is assuming an $899,000 selling price with the minimum down payment of around $65,000. At an interest rate of 4.19% over 25 years, you get a mortgage payment of roughly $4,478. You could also look at that at biweekly, which puts you just over $2,200. But if we took this same mortgage and we went through a mortgage broker at about a 4% rate, a bit of a discount, you can see that that's going to save you about $80 a month just by getting out there and shopping the rate a little bit. And if we look at one more scenario here, let's take that $899,000 selling price with a 20% down payment. We're still going to use the 4.19% interest rate over 25 years. That drops your payment down to $3,861 a month. Here's why shopping your rate actually matters in real dollars. At, let's say, 3.94% instead of 4.19% on a 20% down mortgage scenario, you're saving roughly $110 a month. Over a 5-year term, that's $6,500 that stays in your pocket just from having a conversation with a mortgage broker. And that's why I always tell people to talk to a broker before they go to their bank. Not instead of their bank, but before. So you actually know what you're working with and you're not leaving money on the table. One more thing that I want to flag, because a lot of people don't know this going in too. To qualify for any of these mortgages, the bank stress tests you at your contract rate plus 2% or 5.25%, whichever's higher. So if your rate is 4.19%, for example, you're actually qualifying for that mortgage at 6.19%. That's the income threshold that the lender is testing against. And if you're not sure where you land on that, it's honestly the first question you should be having before you ever start looking at listings and step into showing. And just to be clear, I'm just a realtor. I'm not a mortgage broker. These numbers are based on current publicly available rates and standard amortization. So your actual payment is going to depend on your specific down payment, the rate you qualify, and the terms that you work out with your lender. So please talk to a licensed mortgage professional about your actual situation. And if you need a referral, I'm happy to point you in the right direction. There is another question I really want to think about for a second and talk about a little bit. Is what you're seeing listed at $899,000 what you're actually going to end up paying? Because right now in Kelowna, most sellers have been waiting to sell, as we talked about, probably longer than they would like. When a home has been on the market for around 75 days or more, that seller's mindset has shifted. They've already had the hard conversations with their agent, they've watched other listings around the move and sell, and they're ready to talk. And that brings up this number worth knowing. Homes in Kelowna right now are selling for about 96-97% of the asking price on average. That's a 3% discount off the list price. And that's the average, which means there are plenty of properties selling for more than 3% below what the seller is asking. So on a $899,000 listing, for example, a 3% discount is over $26,000. That's not nothing. If you're a buyer coming in with no subject to sale condition and a clear budget, you are exactly the kind of offer that a motivated seller has been sitting there hoping for. You don't need to time the bottom of the market or wait for prices to fall to make this work in your favor. The conditions that create this buyer leverage are already here, and a lot of people sitting on the sidelines are still waiting for something that's already arrived. I also want to be clear about what this budget does not get you, because I think it's just as important as everything else that we've covered. 899,000 in Kelowna is not going to put you on a premium view lot or on the waterfront. It's probably not going to land you in every neighborhood you have on your shortlist either. And in most cases at this price point, you're buying something that needs some attention unless you're buying a brand new condo or something like that. So whether it's cosmetic stuff like paint, flooring, fixtures, or whether it's more involved than that, just go in knowing that a move-in ready, fully updated home in a desirable area is generally going to push you past this number and into a higher priced home. And this specifically for first-time buyers. If you really want a larger detached home and you've got your heart set on a particular neighborhood, 899,000 might get you there, but it's likely going to come with some sweat equity involved. And that shouldn't be a deal breaker. Some of the best purchases people make in real estate are the ones that needed a bit of vision and a little bit of work. And the buyers who come out ahead are often the ones who bought the roughest house on a good street in a good neighborhood and improved it over time. Just go in knowing that that's part of the deal at this price point. Make sure the bones of the property justify the effort you're going to have to put in before you commit, though. So if you're someone with a clear budget and you're thinking about this with a 5 to 10 year time horizon, this is a price point that genuinely deserves a serious look right now. And not because the market is about to take off and you'll miss this window, but because the conditions that exist right now, patient sellers, elevated inventory, real negotiating room, those things don't stick around indefinitely. And the buyers who tend to look back with regret aren't usually the ones who moved a bit too quickly. They're the ones who had all the information, had all the clarity, and then still found a reason to wait anyways. But let me know in the comments down below. Are you surprised how much house you can get at this price point compared to even just a couple of years ago? Or are you still hoping for prices to crash even more before you make a move? And if you want to walk through what this actually looks like for your specific situation, whether that's figuring out what you qualify for, what neighborhoods make sense for your budget, for you and your family, or just getting an honest read on whether now is the right time for you to buy personally, reach out anytime. I'm always happy to have that conversation. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.